The Pacific Ocean is the lifeblood of our people. It's our home. We're casting off on a 2-year adventure, carrying the message of just how precious our ocean is to us. Reviving the wayfinding brilliance of our ancestors and raising a new generation to become stewards for our ocean.
When it's all gone, we'll be the first to feel it. It's kind of good to be able to actually have a say at last. It's only like a few canoes on the ocean, but it's our say. It's a big picture when you see us coming out of the ocean with a message.
Our first leg will be using the traditional knowledge of our ancestors, without charts, without instruments, as they did centuries ago.
There'll be people out there who look at it and say, what are these crazy people up to? But these are some of the first steps that we're taking to revive the knowledge that allows us to live in harmony and live in sync with our environment.
As we voyage, the waka is our island. Everything we do on the water, conserving food, conserving water, taking care of each other, is directly transferable to the way we live on the land. It changes from being just a boat ride to the way that you live.
We're 7 canoes in the fleet. 2 canoes from Aotearoa, 1 from Tahiti, Cook Island, Samoa, 1 from Fiji, and the canoe Hinemoana that I'm captain of that has many different nationalities on board. We're 16 on each canoe. It's school teachers, it's farmers, even flight attendants, and yeah, from all walks of life, really. We have like a core crew that have a lot of experience of sailing, but some has virtually never been at sea before. The oldest is well in his 60s. The youngest is about 17.
Live in a small village called Tofoa, and yeah, 17 years old.
I've been away from home for the first time in my life.
Never been out of land before. This is my first experience being out of land. Back when I was in school last year, one of my main focuses was environmental science management, which is one of my favorite subjects. So once I heard that this project was about raising awareness about the Pacific Ocean, I was like, oh, this really links to me. And the other thing is just to experience a way of life in the ocean. Yeah, it's going to be a lot to discover.
In Hinemoana, we have a mixed crew, like some from Vanuatu, Tonga, one lady from Tahiti, Kiribati, and our captain is from Sweden.
We are such a mixture of people. We are, at the moment, we're on our flags there. We have 7 different nations, and that gets a special feeling on board. It's a good crew.
One of the main reasons we have fun is because we come with different personalities, we have different humor, and it's just cool. I like it, being a really mixed waka. Like all the Kiribati boys have their own way of laughing, and like we all talk in different dialect, language. All our languages seem to have something in common, like some of our words are in common. Somehow we're all connected. We're family.
I involved with sailing boats and taking people out to swim with the whales.
Go down, Messi. Down, more down.
I love the ocean and I respect what's in there. And this was attract me to join. My father was involved with killing the whales. I saw the last whales killed. I still remember that when I was 6 years old. I taste the meat, but can't remember how it tastes like. From that time, they told us the whales are dangerous. They are not dangerous. They are part of us.
You're right, he's a baby as well.
One really small.
Yeah, there's a... Oh,
Many times I've been in the water to swim with them, and I feel like me to my daughter or it's no different. That's why I'm here. 70% of Tonga want to kill them because it's good meat. We need to save them. They're in the ocean for a reason.
If we want to make this world a better place, we need to go back and understand how our people used to look after it. And you come out here in this ocean, you're always reconnecting to the past. Way before the Columbuses and the Captain Cooks and the Magellans, our people were already traversing the ocean. They already knew how to read the stars. They knew from where they were standing on a beach where Raiatea was. They knew where Aotearoa was. They knew where Hawaii was. And the fact that we're able to grasp a little bit of the knowledge that our tupuna have, I think it will put us in a good place for our future. The ocean is a big part of that. Every one of our islands is surrounded by this ocean, and the fact that we have these 7 canoes highlighting that fact once again is pretty awesome.
Tue and I is very close. We've been sailing for quite a while. We navigated together on the waka all the time. In '91, we went to Hawaii to study traditional navigations. It's a tradition that we always have, but we basically lost it. Having the waka is very important so that we can continue teaching that knowledge, passing on to the young ones so that we'll never lose it again. Jacko and Tue hopping from one waka to another to give all the wakas a fair idea of how traditional navigation works.
The star compass is the circle of horizon. We break that horizon up into 32 houses. It actually is the basis of everything that we do. I'm able to determine what a house is on the horizon by stretching my arm out like this and putting my thumb on one part of the horizon, and my tip of my index finger marks the width of a whole house. So if I know that the sun's going to set 22 degrees north of west, I can put my hand up and measure back to square on the rails on the marks I've created, and then I can make a determination about what direction we're sailing in. The sun's going to set 2 houses to the north or west.
Sunrise and sunset are the most important times of the day for the navigator, because we know where the sun is rising and setting.
When it hits the horizon, that's the most accurate measure of direction that we can get. And we can orientate the waka around in relation to the sun's position to have a really accurate pathway for, 2 to 3 hours.
That's pretty much what we do with the stars at nighttime as well. For a navigator, the stars are a road map. Earlier on in the night, side crossing up here. Line it up with the northern stars as well. If that doesn't work, you got the moon.
Through the cut, north and south.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I don't know of any traditional navigators in Tonga. We used to be really good navigators. Tua said they just totally lost it. It's a really valid and it's really important thing for me to know. That night I learned a lot. That night I didn't want him to stop talking. I just wanted him to keep on talking.
Blessed with this trip, having Jacko, Tua, and our captain. It makes it a lot easier when you've got people like this on board.
Put it right down.
Navigational-wise, Pairs, ace of spades.
Righty. You gotta roll it in.
He's a very stern captain. You can't get away with anything. You're always on a straight and narrow, which is good. I guess coming from a military background, being in the Navy and police, he's brought up that way. Pairs always been Pairs.
We should change this more smoothly. We actually do better than this before. You're making it look like we are amateurs. Lucky it's just us, no other canoes over here.
Drop sail.
Make it look like professionals. We are professionals, okay? Don't put yourself down. I didn't think I'm gonna be a navigator. My old man is a fisherman. As I grew up, there's a paddle that's stuck on the roof of our house, and every family member, my brothers, knew that was my paddle. How did my father selected me? I don't know. Ellie, smaller part is right on the top. Can you slide on the top? I'm number 6 in my family. 6 brothers, and I was selected. He just knew. So what's pushed me now is for me to get the younger ones through. Hopefully I get his special eyes that I can see. who can carry on.
We're traveling, thousands of miles, and we chose to not have refrigeration on board to make us think more about what we take on the canoe. The food we have are dependent on, preserved stuff or dried stuff in one way that will last for a month or more. Meat wouldn't last long at all. If we want fresh food in this environment, we have to fish.
Fishing is a real integral part of our little village makeup where I come from. It means a lot more to us than a lot of these companies overfishing our waters. If you put the lines out, because that's what our ancestors did when they were out here, trying to recapture what they went through. We've got a lot of food on board, but the highlight of the day is to eat a fish. To come out here and not fish wouldn't be from where I'm from.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, all the fish that we catch, we log the weight.
About 20 kg.
Type of fish, GPS position, where the concentration of fish is. Like when we were coming up, we didn't catch fish for about 3 or 4 days in a stretch of area there. We passed long line buoys. You can see where the long liners operate. You never catch anything there anyway.
I've been fishing all my life, and there used to be a whole lot of tuna. It's just grab whatever you want and go home. Not today. These days it's hard. You don't see that no more. It's the effect of the fishing industry. The big boys actually come in and it's like the ones that the locals can actually get. Fishing is hard. Back home, it's hard.
If you notice out here in the islands, the first thing they do is eat it. It's hot while it's still fresh. They believe it makes you a much stronger person out it, so you can handle anything. And yeah. Let it go, bro.
This is boys and girls from the islands, so they know how to fish. But they're also very competitive. We have these master fishermen on all the canoes, self-proclaimed. All of these master fishermen, and even those who wants to be master fishermen, likes to rub into each other's faces quite a lot.
Oh, another one!
If you catch a good fish, then you let everyone know that quite immediately.
You got another one?
Oh yeah.
Let us a chance, let us a chance. If in 1 hour we don't have any, we're gonna catch it.
We use everything, the head, we fry the fillets. If anything is left over, we dry it. Then we use it for the next few days or even weeks.
Looks like today could be very squally day.
We had some certain criteria for every crew, that they should have training in the different islands, proving that they can take care of themselves on the canoe and so. But so many of the crew was new. Gale winds on the nose. Nobody was prepared for that.
Big winds and swells will be hitting us. Take it easy and make sure everything is safe and I'll see you on the other side, yeah?
Roger there, bro.
The worst thing you're going to have is someone getting hurt. That's why you got to have a lot of respect with the ocean. Don't turn your back onto the ocean. He'll smack you. You got to take them through a lot of preparations, a lot of training, but it's one of those things you got to deal with it. At sea, there's no one else there to help you.
No, I'll go to the top, right? Okay, let's chill in the business place.
If it's really bad, a violent one can be 40, 50 knots. We have to start to run with the storm, but we never want to go against it.
We've been prepared for the worst, but I think it will actually get really bad.
Kia tina
is really the first shakedown for the crew. Some of them have never ever experienced anything like this. To be on deck, very exposed. It's very physically demanding. You get completely physically drained and mentally as well. Nothing really prepares you for the reality of a storm like this.
I estimated a couple of swells that came through 12 to 14 metre. You know, there was some gusts there that got up to 45 knots. They're strong walkers. I think the crew did pretty well.
3 of us had to be on the hoy. The rain was so hard that you have to wear glasses. And Captain will be, starboard, starboard, starboard. And we were like, we can't see, we don't know where we're going. Really difficult, really good test for us. Yeah, tough.
The canoes are 2 compact, super strong hulls. They're really, really strong. The deck and how it's attached to the hulls, that's old traditions, like it's been done on waka since forever, like lashing with ropes, which gives it a very nice flexibility. It's not too stiff, it moves with the waves. But the solar power system, that's really cutting-edge technology. If there is no wind under our electric motors, we can travel just with the energy we get from the sun.
Our big achievements are that none of the canoes use any fossil fuel. Only the wind and the sun is powering us. We bring together the ancient knowledge and the latest technology, a perfect mix, connecting the old world to the new world.
The essence of the Waka is what transports our message. To transport the message, you need high technology, especially today, when you have kids involved. We got our little satellite platform set up, and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we get to talk to school kids from Tahiti. They've been following us since the beginning. Coucou, je suis là. Banana.
Qu'est-ce que vous faites quand il n'y a pas de vent?
Ben, on rame. Sinon, ben, on attend. C'est les courants qui nous guident. There's an added aspect to it when the kids see it visually. Et là, vous voyez? Bonjour. You can see them all excited. Really, to understand, you have to see the kids' faces. Oui, c'est le capitaine. Il vous écrit le message. Voilà. OK, distus nanai, distus nanai. Ben, bravo, merci beaucoup.
That's why we're doing what we do.
That's how we transmit our values to our children, is by doing and showing them and doing it with them, including them. And it's beautiful. And we try to teach them that the ocean is fragile and they have their part to play. They have to be part of it.
Our people have always been adventurous. They want to go back to a place that they've been to before or have come from before. Because every time a canoe leaves from somewhere, they leave some of their family behind. There's always that need to reconnect. Even if it's generations later, we just feel this mystical sense that we have been here before in another lifetime.
There's a legend talking about a fleet of waka who left this island through the pass on Aruai, Whakarawa.
There used to be a chief who had 7 sons who all left the island, never to return. In those stories, they went to the Marquesas, Society Islands, Bora Bora, Tahiti, and Samoa, all the way to Aotearoa, actually.
I te e mahana, te hui mai nei te mo whaa mai niutrani mai e whakarawa. I roto tamato hi o a o te rāto mo toku o e te haere, e te mahana i hui mai ei. Te rātei me waha amata te āau, te putapo, te hepo, ai te tae we, e oa, ai te whaitor a ua ano i. E reo wonga, te hui atirata ato. Te whenua tātou, ua hui te whenua te oa.
There's a lot of pride. We all belong to one canoe somewhere in our genealogy because that's how the ancestor came on land. The canoe are the spaceships of our ancestors. This is something we should be proud of. We need to keep this going. We became land people. We need to go back on the ocean and to understand the ocean. Voyaging again, we're coming together for a change, a positive change.
Do you see the love in their eyes, the people on the shores? They are so proud of who we are and where we come from and who we represent. Almost every corner of the Pacific. Why do we do this? We are the carriers of the message of our tupuna. It's about giving them the glory of what they have achieved. And now we go back again. We go back to search, we go back to reconnect, identifying how we present ourselves when we go to sea.
To a pitman and Paitai navigators that have been trained by Nainoa Thompson, and I guess if you sort of look at the genealogy of navigational training in the Pacific, they're really students of Maupi Ailu.
The old man from Micronesia, Papa, he was a living example in our time of our ancient ancestors who navigated like that. He was totally non-instrument, bro. Like, no compass, no charts, nothing. He only passed away last year.
Nainoa asked Mao to teach him. Mao did, but at the same time asking Nainoa to promise that he would pass on this knowledge, which he did to us.
Tua is one of the few people that's been given the title Po by Mao Pialu. The Po is when you become a master navigator. This leg we're traveling to Hawaii is the birthplace of the voyaging renaissance in the Pacific. To honor Nainoa Thompson, Mao's principal pupil, who has taught many other islands throughout the Polynesia.
This leg has become somewhat of a rite of passage. Nainoa's students travelled from Nukuhiva to Hawaii, and it was a test of the skills that he had taught them so far. Doing this leg, it's a test of our skills. For me anyway, that Jack Thatcher has taught me, who was a student of Nainoa, so it's another sort of generation. And so if we can come through it all right, it also means that our teachers can move on to the next level. In the navigation law, you're not a navigator until you have a successful student. So it's quite an important stage for both ourselves as students, but also for our teachers, to make sure that we do a good job.
With the other canoes, that what we did was actually give them the basics. But for my guys that's actually studying under me, it's a real test. Tua and I has been with them for quite a while.
Charles doing well.
Charles absolutely doing well.
Just watching the stars, and then when it gets overcast, you can still see it. Even though you can't see it, he can still see it in his mind. And he holds that course.
Jamal is one of my biggest investments at the moment. I personally selected him, and he is a good navigator, and I know that. His sample is different, and I think it's going to go a long way.
It's definitely different. I never saw myself doing that. It is something that has grown in me, grown on me. I didn't think it would be, but today it's my passion.
You have to work hard. I couldn't just receive something like a handout. I don't think I myself would feel right about that. No, I definitely have to work hard.
Gotta find out what the letters use. That's the easiest way to do it.
That's the easiest way.
But knowingly where about you are, that's it then reckoning, I guess it means.
Yeah.
He grew up being the seaman of his family, and he was chosen by the Cook Islands to go in and learn what he knows now. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best navigator out there at the moment. More than that, he's like a dad. We've been told many times we were chosen. I have to choose to walk this path. So when Tua and them are gone, it's my job to make sure I do what they've done for me, or else the whole revival's for nothing.
For Pacific people, a lot of animals and sea life are actually like guardians, like the albatross, sea turtle, the dolphin, the orca. Quite a few people here would be able to say which is their guardian.
The Utonialo emblem is the turtle. So, yep, as you can see on the navigator's seat there, that's the Polynesian symbol for traditional navigation, the turtle.
The meaning of the turtle for us, it's a guardian to us. Like back in our homeland, turtle signifies land to us. It always brings us home. Wherever they go, you'll see them trying to go back to the shore.
They're one of the greatest symbols of navigation because they can find their way everywhere and back home to where they were born. Turtles always return to their place of birth to give birth, so it can go all around the world, but it'll always come back to lay its eggs when it's time to reproduce. And the turtle is very much respected in Fijian culture also. Kim noticed a plastic bag and, it had a bubble in it, and there was a turtle in that plastic. And you could see that he was trying to dive but couldn't because the plastic kept it up. You could see that it hadn't eaten for maybe, weeks or something. It was so skinny. We don't know how long that turtle was, trying to swim with that plastic bag lodged in its throat. There was bits or pieces in its mouth that we managed to pull out.
It's been chewing on the plastic bag, as you can see from the holes. So this is what becomes of plastic bags when you throw it in the ocean.
It's our belief that when there's no wind, we can whistle. There's just a little bit of breeze. Yeah, we were trying hard, but still nothing.
One minute we're complaining about 35, 40 knot winds, and now we're nagging about no wind. Ngaulofa's battery is down to about 50%. We're just going to all try and get up to Haunui over there, more or less just drift around until our batteries charge up again.
Even though it's a bit of a drag to have lost the wind, it's nice to have a bit of a break. Everybody's been working really hard. Really nice to have an afternoon or a day just hanging out, just with ourselves, really. It's very cool. We get there when we get there.
We have seen each other, we've been in sight of each other, but not more than waving in the far distance, so most of the time it's just a sail in the horizon. We are very, very happy to be here and see the family.
For years and years, I kind of feared the ocean. When I turned 6 years old, my grandfather and father went out fishing, and they got washed away by a freak wave, and they never came back. My mother and my grandmother would never allow us to go out in any boats. I said to them, if I'm to conquer my fear of the ocean, I have to meet it face to face. So I went anyway, and I'm glad I did. Navigator is a person who opens his inner soul to everything that goes on around him. You have times on a voyage where you have to really dig deep when there's just nothing to use, totally overcast and you can't see anything, and you're in the worst of conditions. You have to draw on your senses, and you just have that doubt. And that's the power of Po, because it's been given to you. You can't dwell on that. You have to step up to that level to make sure that your canoe is safe. As Papa Mai said, you need to be everybody's light.
Navigator is the eyes of the canoe. And for a moment last night, my eyes were closed. I was blind. I was in the front for 5 to 10 minutes, and I came at the back, felt the swell was going the wrong way.
and I tried my best to look for something. It was fully overcast, and I could see more squalls were coming through, and I was like, oh no. So I had to approach our captain last night. Cap, I'm lost. This is the words. I'm lost, Cap. I need you to put me back on my course. In those conditions, I shouldn't be at the front. Just sit and take everything in. If we were back in the old days with our ancestors, I probably would have killed the canoe. Yeah, that wasn't cool. Failed as a navigator, it's not the nicest thing.
Jamal's a bit of a perfectionist. He doesn't like to make mistakes. If he does, he comes down hard on himself because he feels that he's failed us.
You don't want to feel so bad that he just gave up things. He said, I'm not going to do that no more. If he does get into that, then it's my failure, it's not his. You've done that mistake, it's gone. I'm happy that you made that mistake because I know you will never make this mistake again. You'll never make it. That's my responsibility to get into him. That is fine. You grab him, bring him back and say, that's fine. I mean, it's okay. I'm still training. I'm not there yet, but I'll get it.
Today, sunshine, everybody enjoy dry deck. We have to put everything outside to dry. It starts smelling funny, that's the thing. This is the worst of being rough and wet.
All my clothes are wet. I hang them up and the rain come and wash and the waves, the water splash on them. The next day I do the same thing, it's still not dry. So.
It's really hard sometimes, especially getting up at 12 o'clock or 3 in the morning, putting your wet gear in your coat and you just put on like 3 layers of shirt and we're still cold. We have a lot of leaks. So when they're sleeping, the leaking is in their bed, so they get wet while they sleep.
Our crew have been bailing out twice a day from in their accommodation, which is a bit of a drag.
Our water in our hull, that's normal. Nobody's given up yet, considering we should really be going crazy.
Being on the waka, you don't have enough rest. Day and night, we have to work. Then need more rest. I need a hot shower, good foods, and then rest. But we have to do it. Yeah, we all too believe that we have to fight with it. Why give up?
Today's Good Friday. This is the time where I spend with all my family, my little brothers and sisters, mom and dad. So home seems like a really good place to me right now.
For the young ones, it's harder to be away from home, especially for like my nephew's on board. He hasn't been away from his parents for this long, and it's harder for us older ones with kids. Being away from the comforts and stuff like that, these are minor worries.
There's so many reasons why I'm on this voyage. It's really hard for me to leave my children, but I need the young generation together with my children to have the same opportunity I have. This is the right place to be, to send the message to the whole world why we on the canoe.
Thompson, you are a good navigator.
Betty!
Yes, we spot Hawaii. No sleeping now. But are we doing the right course, Magnus? Someone's just wondering.
Finally. For us and the other 6 canoes, it's a huge statement and a huge honor to our forefathers. Here we are, thousands and thousands of years later, still doing at least a fraction of what they ever achieved.
You are the new navigators. You are the new eyes for the generations to come. Thank you so much.
The fact that we've come to Hawaii is really a chance for us to say to them that we appreciate and we thank them for the efforts that they made as stewards of this kind of knowledge, and that the seeds that were sown by master navigators like Nainoa Thompson are now starting to bear fruit.
Nainoa is from the first generation of navigators who studied under our Grandmaster Mauki Ailu.
The key responsibility is to teach, because if we don't teach, we're historically going to forget again. My job is to bring my teachers here. I need to come to you on behalf of them. And of course, at the top of the list, it's Pius Malpieder. And the navigation, you got to observe. Looking at the sun, looking at where the clouds are, looking at the wave, that's your job. Just looking at everything. And in a cloudy night, when you take away your eyesight, that's where you go completely out of the science of navigation into the genius of Mao. I mean, that guy is so good that he could lie inside your house and just feel the wave and tell you which way you're going. Now, I cannot do that. There's stuff that Mao can do that us guys cannot do. Ultimately, it's about trust. Once you don't believe that you know where you are, you and your canoe are lost. If you mentally think that you're not sure, you're not sure. If you think that, it's done. Make sense, you guys? The part of navigation that is the most difficult is having to find out when you're ready. You don't learn it in classrooms, you don't learn it even in sailing. You learn it in the quiet moments when you have to be honest with yourself as to whether you can do this. There is one amongst us that is as qualified as all the rest. And even though he doesn't have the distinction as Paul, certainly he is as accomplished as anyone else. Mao uttered another name that I have deep respect for. This man, like no other, that I've seen command the second he stands on board, he has to be here. So Pei, I know you don't know, but we're asking you humbly to come before us and receive what you fully deserve by witness of everyone here.
When you receive the po, it's an indication from your teacher or your mentor that you have achieved all the requirements to become a po. Now you lift to the next level of leadership amongst your people.
I can navigate a canoe, no problem. But to stand up to the responsibilities of being Po, that's what scares me. Because Po is not just being a navigator. You gotta be a good leader for your community. So I gotta make sure that I deliver it to my expectation.
This is our last stop in Polynesia before we set sail for United States. We're going from small island populations to a continent of millions. This will give us the opportunity to bring our message to many, many more people.
Industrial countries, you know, gotta
make a change, you know? We have people that have been represented on these canoes, people like Kiribati, and have done nothing at all, and they're losing their island. You know, when you lose your island, you lose your heritage, you lose who you are, you lose your identity. And for these people, what are they going to do? You know, and I think it's time that people know that what they're doing over there is affecting little islands like ours, you know?
We're not fighting against a small guy, we're fighting against the world, really. To take this message over to somewhere like America, we can only tell our story. You can't force people to do stuff. If you can touch one person out of 10, that's something.
This unity that we've created as we've come across the ocean, that's tied us all together with these canoes that are the vehicles of our ancestors. I'm proud to be a part of a group that has decided to go the extra wave, because that extra wave will carry the message of how precious this ocean is to us. We need to cast our canoes up on the next foreign shore and say, this is what you need to do.
I don't know what's going to happen in San Francisco, I don't know what's going to happen in LA, but I think it's a voyage that's worth taking because the Earth needs it. And I think because they voyage, people respect that. Many more people will be inspired by their courage and their commitment and their focus to the mission. I think it's going to have impact. How much? I don't know. But it's better than staying home.
To us Cook Island people, it's something that we've been always doing, is protecting our ocean. We have this problem that has been introduced to us by other people. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I want my kids to see, my kids' kids, to see an ocean full of fish, full of whales, full of dolphins. You know, not to go to a museum and read it in a book, you know. So that is very important to me, is protecting our ocean.
We're on the outskirts of the North Pacific Gyre. It's an ocean current that's created an area bigger than Texas, full of plastic rubbish, carried here by the ocean currents from all over the Pacific, but mostly from Americas.
It's just been horrendous. We've sailed on the edge of it and kind of look out and think, you know, for 1,000 miles in that direction, there's just this mountain of rubbish floating in the ocean.
It's crazy. It's like sailing into like a dumpster kind of thing.
I'm just kind of curious to see how much more of that is underneath the water that can't come up to the surface.
It's like deep. Every 10 meters, something is floating by us.
2 big currents.
And it's actually been collecting since the last 30, 40, 50 years or so.
So we try our best to get as much as we can to carry with us.
Just plain ignorance that if you throw a piece of rubbish in the water, it'll go away. One voice can make a difference. This voyage already have touched hearts, changed mine. The hardest part is to make everyone see what we see. And once we can make that happen, I think we have a chance.
Today a whale surfaced not too far away. We took a couple of pictures. We could see an orange plastic rope cutting deeply in the fins of the whale's neck. We don't know if the whale will survive this. It must be very painful anyway. It squeezed my heart to see a beautiful animal affected so badly by something so stupid like a plastic rope.
Working with whales for over 10 years, I feel for them.
First-hand experience of something. Like it really gets you taking the message more seriously, and the emotions that you share, it's not something that's fake or you create inside yourself. It's all reality. If you're a witness to something, your words that you say are louder, and everyone will tend to listen.
The little things that you do goes out to the world, and it touches people like this. You have to speak your thoughts.
These new sailors have been introduced to the skills and the talents of their ancestors. They're not sailors learning how to sail anymore. They're sailors who are now taking on the extra responsibility of stewardship.
Bloody awesome. Bloody awesome. Thank you, Captain. Job well done.
First time in history, I think, you know, people are going to be talking about this moment forever. We did it. Woo! Check it out. Goosebumps, bar!
The closest thing that came to my mind was like those Stargate movies where you go inside the terminal and you go inside and you appear in another planet. Whoa! I was just like, what was this? Hui!
So when we come here and we see all of this, it's like, wow, this is a change of scenery, because when you go into the ocean, it's a different story. You just go the bare minimum where you just use what you need. Wasting your resources is the last thing you want to do on the Waka, because you never know how long you're going to be out there in the ocean. This excess is going to affect us like as if we were using the excess on the Waka. It will affect us in the future because we need that stuff for later. And this excess is going to affect someone, somewhere, somehow, someday. The Americans represent almost everything of the world. I feel if the Americans change, the world will change. I suppose it seems kind of judgmental, but I'm young, so I'm growing. I'm going to make mistakes. But in 50 years' time, I'm going to turn around and say, look at us now. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be a culture shock for many. Yep, I can just talk for myself. You're not in the Pacific Islands, so to speak, anymore. You're in the American machine, and I know that it's going to be a challenge to continue this message.
Thousands of them get together here to watch this game today. And maybe they think that we are doing a little Waka show for them. It's a special treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is second inning stretch time. We invite you to join
San Francisco is a really good place. Just first out of Tonga, just really shocking for me. This is so developed compared to our country. I guess developed come with disadvantages. It's full of like really good stuff, really bad stuff, negative, positives. It's just really different.
You're here at the Marine Mammal Center, so our docket ultimately is to rescue animals from malnourishment to entanglements in ocean trash, etc. What you see are these huge sculptures of marine life, all made from ocean trash collected from beaches. Our patients actually get entangled in this stuff.
Our Waka actually got over 100 kg. Yeah.
So you guys saw parts of the North Pacific Gyre, right? Yeah, it's a big swirling vortex of plastic soup, basically.
Yeah.
It's just in the,
The nets and rope, there's heaps. They needed 6 guys to bring them. How much garbage did you guys get?
We had like 2 big bags.
No, heaps though, do you see it?
Yep. Baby toys.
All these mahi-mahi were living under it.
So can you imagine the quality of our fish? So it
fish
becomes
was-
floating
that's
coral.
what yes.
Floating poison coral.
Yep.
This stuff.
Yep.
This stuff floating
There's
in
a
the
light
ocean.
up
See, hold on. See, I never knew there was like that much pollution until I joined this project.
Turtles, birds, whales, they're confusing what's food and what's crap. We're putting it in their habitat. Plastics, stuff that doesn't disappear, it sits there forever and it's only going to get worse. That gyro has changed my life. I understand now we can't do that anymore.
We are highlighting some very, very severe environmental issues that's happening in the oceans worldwide, but going to affect, first of all, the Pacific. And if the Pacific is affected, that will affect the rest of the world, basically, even my country.
We're here trying to spread a message of environmental protection and marine mammal and marine protection as well. Because without the sea, we're lost. We don't have anything, okay?
For me, yeah, it's always searching for those little kids and actually building those relationships, because in the future, they'll be the one that'll be making the choices.
When I talk to kids, they understand it really well. 100% focus. Don't make any more mistake.
Most of all is what's the purpose we're doing it, something that I want to share with the kids.
So this rock here, wherever the bucket goes, the rock stays with the bucket.
They're the treasures for the future. Hopefully one day, we'll have an awesome world.
Hey, there's solar panels! Hey, look at the big paddle up there. Hey, look, I'm going. Where does it go in the bathroom?
That's all I think we can do. Tell them what we're about. People want to come on the canoe, bring them on. You know, we've got to open them up to showing them what our world's about. You gotta give it a try and hope that someone takes something from there that changes their mind about something. So it's changed how I feel about things.
Solomon Island and Peabody Islands with its spirit, and their reefs are going because of coral bleaching from the rising temperatures. We're not going to stand around and watch them disappear. These are our brothers. We're doing something about it.
Swedish, we also have Vanuatu, Solomons, Papua New Guinea, all ambassadors from all these different nations.
Well, that's wonderful. You're on a historic voyage. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
The canoes represent 15 nations from throughout the Pacific.
The ocean is the engine room of our planet Earth. And once the ocean is gone, mankind will disappear from this earth. As simple as that.
If we don't look after nature, if we don't care for nature, then why should she care for us?
It's a rare treat. You know what we see normally? Advertising helicopters. Buy this, buy that, Budweiser, cigarettes, but we don't see such a respect and honor for our ocean. So, wow.
All of you guys are doing. Thank you very much.
The bit that touched me was when you allowed their families and their kids to come up and see what we're doing. That's the impression I want to make, because then it touches their heart. Just plant that seed. That's all you can really do. We're starting. If you don't start at all, you definitely won't make a difference.
One of the visions we had about coming here to the United States was making the connections with the First Nations people. And that was a big part of us, is that we come through the right door. And that right door is not necessarily the Golden Gate Bridge. That right door is coming with the blessings of the people of the land.
The United States of America, it's known for the Indian people as the Big Turtle. In our legends, we have the story of the turtle people coming to our shores. And we've been told that the Chumash people have also the Waka culture.
We're an old people. Our stories place us on the islands first, and then we came to the mainland. Without the ocean, we wouldn't be who we are. If we were away from the ocean, it's as if we couldn't breathe. Just surrounded by the ocean, it has to be. When you landed on the beach, we were greeting our family. Sailing in, you know, it was just the most amazing thing. Here you are reminding us of this respectful, sacred way of being. I don't think you know how important your voyage has been for the world, you know. And I am praying that this story that you are telling now, that there are many people that are going to be listening to this story.
We all have a responsibility to take care of this world. The journey that you're taking is the loudest voice I've heard in many years.
Those of us who have this ancient connection, we're shaped by the ocean. I believe it's going to be a lot our responsibility. The paradigm in the world we live in today needs to shift, and the indigenous voice is going to be absolutely necessary.
So never be quiet. Be heard like the winds, and carry your voice into the spirits and into eternity.
It's great to be back on the canoes. We left the big North American cities. We're traveling down the coast of Mexico to Cabo Pulmo and then on to Coco Island.
On the boat, it allows you a lot of thinking space, some reflection, some personal reflection.
I've been writing a log every day. It's just a glimpse of what we're doing. I'm hopefully gonna try to sum up my sort of experience. At the same time, I'll try to manage about this journey that we set sail in with 7 canoes and, try to represent the Pacific. The blogs that I've written, I think people will like it.
He shares. He tells the stories and he shares everything we have experienced here. And I think I could never explain like he can. He just connects to people and managed to get them to feel what we have been feeling at the sea and stuff. So that's pretty amazing. He become someone with a mission as well.
I want to be an environmentalist, but I didn't have that 100% reassurance that I will be. Now I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, with my career. Like once you know that and put it into heart, like they say, action speaks louder than words. And I wouldn't have ever changed my captain than Magnus, He wants you to grow as a person. And I think it's a really big responsibility. He has the fleet to take care of. Like, I can't really say it to him in person, but yeah, I can tell you now that he is the best captain that I've had. It's a lot of sacrifice, It's an opportunity of a lifetime, but it's also a great sacrifice for all of us. The family we had to leave back, and some people can say the money they could have raised if they were working and stuff. Being the oldest son in Tonga, you're always the person to take care of the family. You take care of your mother, you take care of your sisters. When I left, I was 17, just graduated from high school. My younger sister, she was only 3 years old, and I named her, so I feel like that I have a responsibility more to her. But like always, you have to take these opportunities. These doors don't open all the time. If you want to take a leap of faith, just take it. So I guess now I'm really grateful that I'm here.
I love the ocean. That's why we're out here. These 7 wakas all together. So yeah, make a stand.
We have heard so much about Bahia Magdalena that that's a spot for grey whales to come in. They hang about in this area, which is the entrance to this big lagoon. This is like a whale mecca.
And mostly here is a grey whales. It's 4 blow, 4 or 5. It's coming up. Reaching, yes, yes. 1, 2, and 40 tons up in the air.
This kind of whale we have not seen at all before, so it's just exciting to be around them, because when you hear the blows and you see them, how big they are and the movement on them, so that's pretty spectacular for everyone.
Mostly they've been mating, so I guess it's mating season and everything, so I don't really know how to say it. It's like just speechless. Really happy I got to see them.
It was an incredible sight to see. My personal feeling is I couldn't be more grateful to be able to see a sight like that. I know not many people in the world get to see. To me, it makes me want to try to take care of the ocean so that these beautiful creatures can continue to live and thrive here in the Pacific Ocean and in all the oceans in the world. It makes us realize how important it is to take care of our planet.
Visibility is so bad. This is very dangerous. We can hit some others because of this problem. You can see the other worker behind you, Messi. Yeah? We don't want to hit a container ship. We are so tiny.
Just when it's like this, we just need more eyes to look out for buoys and other big ships. Two guys up here and 2 guys on the stern to look, because the ships, you know, can come from any directions.
Any more on the highway?
Go ahead, Duncan, did you copy that? Just so we keep close.
It was like everything was set. It was foggy, it was really dreary, and we were expecting to go on shore to get some fish for dinner. Some of the guys went over. When they came back and we saw the expression on their face, no one really knew what was going on. No one was speaking.
When we get to this little dodgy town, it's like tin roof houses and wood structures, and the feeling was really eerie and wrong, you know?
We didn't know it was a shark camp. It was just horrific. It was disgusting.
There were perhaps 100 carcasses lying around on the waterline, and the biggest of them would have been 1.5 meters. Some were babies, barely a foot long. Everyone was pretty upset.
Just seeing it, like all the fins being all chopped off, for me it was just wrong.
It was pretty disturbing all up. It's all done, of course, for the shark fin soup industry. There were a couple of fishermen there filleting, but for most shark finning operations, they never use the meat, and a lot of the time they don't even bother killing the sharks. They just chop the fins off and throw them back in the sea alive. It can take them a very long time to die. It's just such a senseless waste.
To see it up front and face to face was just it. It was disgusting for me. I mean, I am the only Chinese representation on the fleet. It's hard not to take it personally. That was the first time that I wasn't really proud of who I was, just because I was associated with something that was so disgusting.
I don't know why they even do it. You know, for soup? I don't know.
I started talking to the lady, yeah? You know, she doesn't want to do it anymore. And it really touched me because they're poor and they don't have any other way to make money. Our job is to let them know that there's other things that they can do without hurting the ocean, because when those sharks are gone, what are they going to do? What are they going to fish?
It's a key part of what we're doing, and the changes that have happened within ourselves is that as you learn more about things, you just become a lot more connected and a lot more empathetic, because it does change you. And that's the whole point, eh?
Morena tātou. Te mutīra manaku, te mutīra marani, ko koe kei watu ki anotea koe, whia au ngākau. Au mahara kia putu ki te whai au ki te ao mārama. Tēnei te umu kaike, te umu kei a koe, nā te umu o enei kōrero. Ka maanga koro mātua, ka māhu ki tēnei tangata. Turu turu o whiti whakamā kia tīna. Haramai te toki, haumi e, hui e, tāu.
Traditional navigation, it's not for everybody. Everybody can learn navigations. There's no problem at all. But you can't do it if you don't have the right mind and heart. And I see that in Jamal. I've put a lot of time in him because I see him going through. And I can see dedications in him, you know, way before when he starts sailing. It's a big step for the skills to actually spread in a very short time. It feels good because the person you invested in is doing very well.
He gave an indication that he's gonna try to train some navigators up, and my name was put in there. He turned around and said, "Okay, you're gonna have to study up." It was a new thing for me, so I was still finding my feet. I never realized how hard it was.
Okay, when you're ready, bro. When you're ready. At the moment, it's all right, but a couple of experiences before this, it was really. I felt it was kind of hard.
It's a learning process. I'm lucky enough to have them standing over me and guiding me through this. So it's been good for me. I got lucky, I guess. Very lucky.
You are beautiful from the inside and from the outside.
Oh! It says, beware of jealous husbands in the future.
Who wrote this thing? I'd like to know. Smile and the whole world smiles with you. I always do. I totally agree.
We are heading to a small fishing village called Cabo Pulmo. 20 years ago, I suppose, fishing started to decline, and they realized if they don't do anything about it, maybe everything will disappear. The village themselves decided that they had to protect the area to make it a reserve, basically a complete no-take zone, making a sacrifice of their livelihood right now against a possible future gain. These guys were really conscious about preserving what they had before, and I think that's unique, yeah.
Nosotros nos dedicábamos antes a la pesca comercial. Lo hizo mi abuelo, lo hizo mi padre, lo hice yo y mis hermanos. Cada día nos costaba más trabajo sacar un pez. Un día decidimos no pescar más, alzamos nuestras redes, nuestros anzuelos y nos dedicamos al ecoturismo. Con la ayuda de científicos nos ayudaron a pedirle al gobierno que decretara un área natural protegida, porque quería hacer otra cosa. Si íbamos a dejar de pescar, necesitaba otra opción. Y fui el primero en salir a capacitarme, fui el primer buzo profesional de Cabo Pulmo y me tocó enseñarle a mis primos, a mis sobrinos, a mis hermanos, y ahora todos nos dedicamos al ecoturismo. Con orgullo puedo decir que tenemos un buen trabajo y que estamos conservando una reserva. Cabo Pulmo es mi vida y lo amo. Y quiero que mis hijos y mis nietos lo amen como yo lo amo.
The ocean has been the special thing of my life because since I was 5 years old, my dad put the first tank on my back, so that's when I started diving. I was 5 years old.
David, me acuerdo que cuando yo era un pescador, lo subía un tiburón muerto en la playa. Ahora él cuida los tiburones y yo ya no me puedo acercar para nada, porque él es el amigo de los tiburones ahora.
Sharks, that's my priority, you know. Since I was a kid, I was very afraid of sharks. But once I did the first feeding sharks, then I just feel this is what I want. I don't care what kind of shark, but I want to just get the closest I can. Around 7 years ago, when I started doing all the research diving, I've been seeing a big change on the conservation, even the species of fish and the health of the coral. I feel very glad of that, because all the conservation in Cabo Pulmo is helping, and I know this can be a big example for the other places around the world. It was very interesting for me what these guys have been doing, especially when they tell me that they're going to Cocos Island. For me, Cocos Island is like my dream. That's the top place for sharks. I asked one of the captains, and he just told me, well, we have a space left. If you want to go, jump in and let's go. Everybody tells me, if that's your dream and if you want to do it, go ahead, go for it. Now, I know it's going to be a big change for me leaving from here, but after I talked to the guys, I feel we had pretty much the same purpose to help the ocean. They work with the heart. I know it's a great experience, and even sailing, that I never did that before, and I know I'm gonna learn a lot about the ocean. What I can say, I just thank you to my dad for all the constant teaching that he's providing to me, and now he's providing to my son.
David was really an inspiration for me. You know, just that strength within the people and community working together with the help of the government. The reef nearly died. They had like a 480% recovery rate. It gives you that hope that it's never too late.
David has been part in helping them monitoring their reserve. He's very, very passionate about the ocean and he loves sharks. He works with sharks. He even kisses sharks. We saw it.
So the shark was lying like this and he just went, seriously? Kiss a shark? That's why I call him the shark master.
I think it's a good opportunity for us to take him with us. When we saw how he's worked, what his family has done, as well as for him, you know, to see other passionate people. They're not alone in Cabo Pulmo.
I was kind of shy at the beginning. I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know the tradition and even the language as well. So it was very hard, but it only takes me like 5 days to get used to it. People from the Pacific Island, they're very, very inspired people. What I see is the love they have in each other, and then the love they have to their own land. It's pretty much the same that we have back home.
Whoever is on the vaca, regardless of which nationality you were, like just like in the vaca as we live, we're all family. David came new to us, just adds to the family of Inemon. Yeah, he was a big brother.
I have another manager.
Yeah. Cocos and Galapagos are famous around the world for marine life. It's a great opportunity for him to see.
I was watching all the documentaries for National Geographic, the BBC and all that. That's when I decided to come to here, no matter what. My dream's coming true.
Cocos has been in reserve for almost 35 years.
Fishing or any kind of distraction is forbidden. Even us, we cannot fish. 12 miles around the island is total protected.
Rangers here tell us that they're fighting a constant battle with longliners. Every week, they say, basically, they have people coming in laying their lines within these 12 miles. But what they are doing, and we see the young Rangers, which is kind of a Costa Rican version of David, they just are firm to keep them out of this zone, which is illegal to fish in. To see that generation take so much care, it's very, very inspiring.
¿Viste el puente? ¿Verdad? El puente es todo hecho de pesca. Pueden haber aquí más de como unas 300 millas de equipo, de longliners. La idea es que esto no vuelva al mar, ¿verdad? Porque esto fue encontrado acá dentro del área protegida. El principal problema acá son los pescadores, la pesca ilegal. Y ellos están ingresando, ¿verdad? Nosotros jugamos como al gato y al ratón. Entonces, ves, todo esto es puro desecho. Igual con los anzuelos. Todo iba para tiburón. El valor excepcional universal de un sitio como estos no tiene precio. Entonces, un daño como estos, vos decís, wow, o sea, es increíble. O sea, ¿cómo es posible? ¿Verdad? ¿Cómo es posible que no haya respeto por la vida?
Es un trabajo duro, a veces son 16 horas afuera en el mar, recogiendo equipos a mano. Pero nosotros no nos rendimos, ¿verdad? No somos los que vamos a sacar la bandera blanca, aquí vamos a estar y todo en pro de la naturaleza. The Rangers were very awesome people. All this big fight that these guys, they've been doing for so long, more than doing as a job, they protect more from harm. There are white-tip sharks, hammerhead sharks, and the most afraid shark is the tiger shark. There's tiger sharks around, so that's kind of scary, but nothing to be afraid.
Cocos, it's kind of a central point in the Pacific for underwater life. It's a natural formation there, and it's heaving with life, heaving, really.
terrified of sharks my whole life.
About the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Those yellowfins just come. Sharks in and out, sharks in my face, yellowfin everywhere. So special.
So many different species. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's overwhelming.
You see this like Grinchy smile and the small little eyes. It came towards me, and next thing you know, out I goes to starboard. Saw everyone, went and stayed in that pack.
The sharks just are all over the place, and they bump into you and all sorts of things.
David said, to stay calm. It was scary, awesome, unforgettable, and I want to go do it again.
Once I see this, oh, nothing compares. I will never forget this. That was unbelievable, awesome, One of my best experiences of my life. I've been seeing sharks all over, but this is, I don't have words to tell what happened today.
To see nature kind of in this raw format, the power in all this is, I think it's affect everyone in a way. So I hope it gets everyone to think a little bit, that it's worth taking care of your resources.
Cabo, Brumo, Cocos, there are these places where all of them, they all have one passion. I know it takes a really hard effort, but I've seen a lot of stuff that I think we can implement in Tonga. It's something all of the other nations can learn from. It's all commitment, If I'm able to volunteer, I'll totally do it.
Galapagos is our last taste of land before we head back south to the South Pacific and home. This is the longest leg of our voyage. It's nearly 4,000 miles. And between here and Tahiti, there is nowhere to stop.
From Galapagos to Tahiti, we're going to do it everything traditional. So even though it's a long leg, for us to sail back into the South Pacific, it's something to look forward to. I got 2 competent young navigators on board that will take over. And also the old dog coral is still there, keeping the guys intact.
Maintain sailing, but most importantly, keep the sun off Cap.
My crews, most of them, when we selected them, they're quite raw, and we work hard on them, and now they're basically ready to take this canoe. So with that steering tonga, you'll be going Ngareo?
Yes.
Okay. It's doing very, very good at the moment. I can see it's pretty close to what I think it's where we are. So this is his time to prove himself. It's a test. He's actually slowly stepping into my footsteps. It's something that kicks right here in the heart, and I feel proud about it, actually.
Being out on a waka, it's a great feeling, especially when the wind's up, you're moving flat out, kicking along real fast, the ocean's big, like a behemoth that's cruising along the ocean at total speed. That's what's exciting.
Yep, when the weather's right for her to really put the gas on and go, we let her.
Your blessings, and we shall protect you. As you breathe, you give us life. Remind us as one we are strong. We keep you alive, and now
Some
some things that you take for granted. Say, for example, water. On land, you expect it to be there. It's just there. But here on the boat, we have no water. We have the ocean. You're like, man, I wish I had that little, even a cup, just at least to pour it on my face.
Fresh water is such a luxury. Can't wash your hair. It's all salt water. You're only allowed to drink it. You've got limited resources on the boat. It's a 30-day voyage, and you have to be way more conscious. So you're always thinking about it. You're always conscious of the amount of water that you have. Little things like that that make you really appreciate things when you come to the land.
I think that's what we're going to get right through the night. Squalls coming through. Yeah, we just have to be careful through squalls.
Your responsibility is your canoe and your crew.
We're going to hold this. As long as the wind is clean, we've got to keep an eye. The navigators keep an eye.
The worst time is it's when it's overcast, strong wind, strong waves. That's when you got to come up and actually perform. With navigations, everything is cluttered in your head. I cluttered with a lot of things, no doubt about it, that he has to take it out. And if you can't handle that, you're gonna be in trouble. It's not gonna be for you. And he knows that, that's all.
We kind of have each other's backs all the time now. Now we trust each other like you would trust your own family. Not just our crew here, but all the crews has been fantastic in doing something. You know, this is it's a really big challenge, and everyone has gone through it. You know, I think that shows that everyone can. You know, we can do much more than we think we can do. But maybe Mercy especially, because he was so young. We have seen like a lot of good stuff, but some of the really bad stuff, and become serious. It's amazing to see, actually, amazing.
The sheer distance of this leg, the room for error becomes so much less because every time you do make a little mistake, that degree becomes bigger and bigger. It just makes things so much harder.
The guy's been off track a little bit, off focus.
Is it the 20-degree drift?
Yeah, and the wind.
So there's two houses. We underestimated a couple of things, and the drift was one of them. Underestimated that.
How much was it yesterday?
10 east.
And how can you be east of the coastline and you got two houses going west? You guys do your calculation right?
We calculated 80 miles today.
You are 80 miles to go. We should be able to see land.
Start at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock shift.
Should be able to see land. As long as you guys are confident where you are, then it's fine.
Okay.
The trip down has been going through different kind of wind. Sometimes no wind at all. A bit frustrating sometimes, but that's part of the game anyway.
At the moment, the winds aren't in favor of us. Winds are coming pretty much straight from where we want to go to. So, trying our best.
Navigators, be strong on your steerers. Hit them hard. Yeah. So, same old. Stay safe through the night, and main thing, guys, is to enjoy yourself. Yeah. Am I able to do it? You worry about that all the time. You don't want to fail. You don't want to fail your teachers, Mo Pielo, Main Thompsons, you know? The thinking is so hard. You feel like you're by yourself. Jamal is a good navigator. So I'm hoping, we cannot fail. If we fail, it'll be one of the worst days ever.
I can still see that bump.
Call in.
No, might just be my eyes. Just looking for land is very tiring. You have to search the horizon for a small dot. If you stare at one spot long enough, you're gonna lose concentration on what your job actually is. Because if you are off on your estimations, you have to keep going. Koro and I, sometimes we see signs of islands right out in the distance in terms of colouring and clouds, but we haven't actually sighted land yet. We expect to see land now. We expect to see land already.
You anticipate at sunrise that you're going to see land, and Clouds come up and cover the moon and cover the sun, and you don't see the island. You start to worry a little bit.
The anticipation is building up in you because never are you allowed to be lost. You're never allowed to lose confidence on your positions or what you're doing. Once you do that, then it's over.
But we've been taught that you have to be patient. When the time is right, it will show itself. And here we are. It's the big prize we've been waiting for. Right there, hiding underneath those clouds.
Good feeling. Yeah, good feeling.
I believe I've navigated successfully today.
So happy. So proud. Really, really proud.
You know, you've done things that your ancestors, just a small piece of what they had accomplished. And it's a huge relief. Everyone who was depending on you is happy for you as well, that we, as navigators, guided them safely to their destination. As Cap congratulated us, he said, you have a bigger responsibility now. Your job is now to train the young ones, because that's what it's all about.
I am a link. I have to ensure that that link continues, and will definitely do my best to. We are in a site named Wharehape. It's a very special place. It's a learning place. Wharehape, the house of the caterpillar. We decided to invite all the crew members here to reflect, talk, and especially listen before we can continue on this trip. Before entering the site of Wharehape, we actually asked people to walk through the river because the water is a cleansing element. We also told them to leave their sorrow, the bad energy, outside Wharehape.
We've been through the hardships. We've been there, we've done it, and we've shown that we can do it.
This 20,000 plus mile voyage has taken us right from one side of the Pacific to the other. As a family of 7 canoes, today is it's a time of reflection for what we've accomplished. Te Mana o Te Moana has given the crew members of every single canoe of this fleet the mana to be able to stand up and say, you must listen to us now. The scattered voices of Pacific people are no longer a whisper, but a definite call to the world.
The young guys like Jamal and Mercy,
They're no longer the children that left Aotearoa 2 years ago and have learnt a lot. These crew members are ready to solidify the mana that they do have now, to move on and do something about it, in tune with who they are and where they come from.
We are starting a work that will, I think, influence a lot more people than we think throughout our planet. And I think it's going to be an endless voyage. I feel that we're doing something not of the past, but for the future. We are carrying that message of a new culture of hope.
So the voyage is now to go to the Pacific Art Festival in Solomons. We decided this is the final goal. It's very mixed feelings. It's the happy feeling of accomplish, what we set out to do. But our family is going to break up, and that will be a hard thing.
I don't want to end it. It's like your sister, your brothers, your uncle, your auntie. It's pretty hard. It's not only to the crew, but the boat itself. Moana is our mother.
Being the person I am, it's always been a seaman. We're doing a traditional canoe. It's so special. Now it's done, and we dedicated this whole lake to the youth of today to make sure that they know that they are the leaders of tomorrow. The only way the canoe can live on is for them to keep on sailing.
This is just the start of something huge. It's going to be really interesting to see how everybody evolves and grows and develops into whatever lies ahead of us. I don't know. It's going to be cool.
My grandpa used to say, to test a real guy, you have to go to the ocean. And yeah, after 2 years, it's a new version of Mercy coming back. It's been life-changing. Thanks, Grandpa. This might be the end of Te Mana Te Moana. But when we go back home, then the real work starts. I'll be in my own voyage, a voyage trying to tell people, you can change your way of life. I have really changed. If you love your environment, protect it.
We here come to you with a message. This message is about a problem. This problem is with our oceans. Our mission to bring awareness to the world about the need for change.
Give a little love to her. Take a little love from her. We accept your blessings and we shall protect you. As you breathe, you give us life. Remind us as one we are strong. Te mana o te moana, we keep you alive. And now te mana o te moana.